I mean, so you're not coming. Okay, it's a beautiful Saturday morning, and we just closed from church. And this is the time of the year. In fact, this season is called the fall season, and you can tell when this season is here by the color of the trees. You realize that all the trees are beginning to blossom. You see some in yellow colors, some in red colors, some in green colors, some in brown, and they look so beautiful. In fact, this is my first fall experience in Canada, but I'm just loving this season. The way the season makes everywhere look so beautiful and so I don't know how to describe it, but it's the best season, right? And this is the season where we are transiting from summer to winter. But during this period, you can have if you're an African, you can have an experience of the African weather. It is sometimes cold and it's sometimes hot. The weather is not stable, it changes. This morning when we were going to church, the weather was a bit okay, so I picked my jacket. But when we're coming back from church, it was so hot, I put my jacket away. And then this evening, I think it's around 5 p.m., but you can see that the sun is still bright. It's around 5 p.m., but the sun is still bright. We decided to go to the park, take a stroll. Just relax during this time, right? But when we got here, I realized that the weather had actually changed. So I had to borrow my husband's jacket to put on because I had left my jacket at home. So this is another part of the Canadian weather. I don't think it's just particular to Canada. Sometimes the weather is not predictable, but this is one of the beautiful things that you can find here in Canada. And if you walk through, this is a very big park, very big. You see people here with their children, their families, taking strolls, taking walks. People come here with their dogs, and it's such a beautiful sight to behold. And this is one of the reasons why you should make it a point to come to Canada if you are considering studying anywhere. One of the things that people usually get stuck in, I went through that experience, right? Most of the times when you decide to travel out for studies, you are caught up with the question of where to go. Do I go to the US? Do I go to the UK? Do I go to Canada? You are so confused, you don't know where to go. But in this particular video, as I take a stroll on the park, I'm going to give you reasons why you should come to Canada. Reasons why Canada is the best place for you to study. And I'll do a comparison between studying in the UK and then studying in Canada. So if you are considering going to the UK for studies, this is the video for you to watch. When you finish watching this video, then you can take a decisive decision on which of these countries you want to visit. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to give you reasons why you should come to Canada to study. I'm going to do a comparison of studying in Canada versus studying in the UK to help you decide on which of these countries you want to study in. One. There are various reasons why you may want to travel abroad. Some travel simply because they want to have the international certificates. They don't really care about pathways to settle in the country. They just want to go study, get a certificate, and come back to their home country. And there are others who also want to use a study route as a way to settle in a particular country. If you are one of those people who wants to study and get the international certificate, but at the same time will have the opportunity, if they decide, to stay back in that country, settle in and live their life, then Canada is the best place for you to be. Canada, as it stands now, is one of the best places that you can study. And one of the reasons is that when you come to Canada, it has got one of the cheapest tuitions that you can find in the world. The universities in Canada are less expensive as compared to other universities in other parts of the world. So if you're somebody whose finances is not that strong and you're looking for a place where you can get the international certificate and still be able to afford your school fees or your tuition, then you should come to Canada, because that is where you can get both the international certificate, international experience, and then you pay very low tuition fee. And one good thing about it is that Canada allows students to work. Canada is one of the places that allows students to work. So if you are a student here in Canada, your student permit comes with a work permit that allows you to work full-time here. So as a student, you have the opportunity to work. I know people who are studying here in Canada who are actually working and raising money here in Canada to pay for their tuition. So it is possible that you can come, work, and raise money to pay for your tuition. I mean, it is an undoubted fact that when you come to Canada as a student, you can actually work. The RRCC even knows that. That is why they give you a work permit. But when you are doing your application and they ask you how you are going to pay for your fees, you don't need to write that you are going to work in Canada to raise money to pay for your fees. They won't give the visa to you. But once you arrive here, you have that opportunity to do that.
Let's do it.
Now, Canada is also one of the best places that you can smoothly transition from being a student to a permanent resident. This kind of transition you don't find in some countries, or you don't find in other places. Now, when you come to Canada, once you complete school and your school has postgraduate work permit eligibility, you can just apply for your postgraduate work permit. That gives you additional 3 years to stay and work here in Canada. In some countries, once you finish the school, you are given about 6 months to find work before you can change your study permit to work permit. So within that 6 months, if you are not able to secure the kind of work they're looking for, it means you either have to go back to your country, or you either have to apply for another school to extend your study permit. But here in Canada, it doesn't matter whether you are able to secure a job or not after your studies. Once you complete the school and have your certificate, and the school you attended is eligible for postgraduate work permits, you just apply, things go well for you, and then you get your 3 years postgraduate work permit to stay back, work, and live here in Canada. After the postgraduate work permit, you become eligible to apply for permanent residence. So there's this smooth transition for students, like that. Once you are a student, you don't worry about how you are going to stay, but that is if that is what you want to do. You don't worry about how you are going to achieve that once you are here in Canada. And one thing I love about studying in Canada is that it allows you to come and settle in with your family, your spouse, and your children. Recently, their countries are making changes to their immigration rules. UK, for instance, beginning next year, January, the UK is not going to allow students, especially those doing masters, to come in with their dependents. It means that if you are considering going to the UK for studies next year, you can only go by yourself as a student. You cannot go with your spouse and your dependents or your children. But Canada is still open to welcoming students come and settle in with their family. It doesn't matter the number of children you have, so far as you are able to prove your finance that you can cater for your family once they are here in Canada, you are good to go. Your spouse also gets a full work permit to work here in Canada to support you while you are going to school. See, something you may not find in some countries. So in summary, if you are considering studying abroad, these are the reasons why you should come to Ghana. First, Canada is the best place for you to find some of the cheapest tuitions. Again, Canada has smooth transition from being a student to becoming a permanent resident, and you can even move on to become a citizen. Again, Canada allows you to come in with your family, to settle in and live. That is if that is what you want to do. And your spouse even gets the opportunity to work here. And these are some of the things that you may not find in other countries, but you will get in Canada. Applying for a Canadian study permit can be very stressful. There is no two ways about that. You need to put in a lot of effort. It comes with putting together a lot of documentation. So a lot of documents, a lot of thinking has to go into your visa application and stuff. But the truth is that if you dedicate much time, do your research, and then you put in a very strong application and your visa gets approved, then the benefits that comes with it makes all the struggles and all the stress worth it. So don't get discouraged by how tedious the Canadian study permit visa application is. Be encouraged by what you want to achieve at the end of it all. Be encouraged by why you want to come and study in Canada, and let that be your focus. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, kindly give it a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, you put it in the comment section, and as and when I see that, I will respond to you. Thank you so much.